I wanted to try growing potatoes in wood chips. So I lightly dusted the surface of my wood chips with some chicken compost and a little bit of potting soil. Then I took some sprouted potatoes from the basement and laid them on the surface. Afterwards, I just covered it with more wood chips. I did this in several locations. It's a cold, windy fall day, so I think it's a good time to check on our potatoes to see how we did. As these potatoes grew, I kept tossing more wood chips on top of them. So some of my plants are hidden, but I can still see a little bit of the potatoes sticking up, so I know what to do. Okay, it's not too bad. You can see the little bit rotting seed potato right there, but I see some pretty decent sized spuds coming out the side. There's a seed potato. We're just gonna toss that to the side. I'm gonna dig up the rest of these guys and then we'll talk about what I did here. I lied. I don't think I could find all of my potatoes, but this is what I got so far. Not too impressive if you're actually trying to intentionally grow potatoes, but considering the circumstances that I used disgusting seed potatoes to grow these, I think it did pretty good. These were actually potatoes from the store that had been sitting in a cloth bag in the basement for like 6 or 7 months, and they sprouted, and they were sprouted so long that they actually looked like they were dead. They were real mushy, but I decided to toss them in the wood chips to see what would happen anyway. It seems like each disgusting spud we put out like 3 or 4 new potatoes off of it. So I think if you actually used good seed potatoes and did this method, you could have a decent harvest. I missed a bunch of these little guys in here that didn't grow into full potatoes. So I'm going to get a bunch of new potatoes growing out here next year. And I'm also going to take these ones and kind of just toss them in there and cover it back up with wood chips and see how they do over the winter. These were more store-bought moldy potatoes. You can see our yield inside the actual permaculture garden is a lot higher. I am still pulling out potatoes here. I think I put maybe 2 of the rotting spuds in the ground here. Some of them got a little bit of green on them. We're going to make sure we do not eat the ones with the green on them. I guess we could have used a lot more wood chips on top of here. You don't want light getting to your potatoes. And just look how much our wood chips broke down just having these potatoes inside there. Not too bad for a couple moldy basement potatoes. And once again, I am taking the smaller ones, putting them back in the ground, covering them up. We'll see what happens next spring. Let's go ahead and move on to the Yukon Gold potatoes I got grown in the back here. Sometimes when you're harvesting potatoes, you forget some potatoes in the ground and you get a surprise the following year where you have potatoes growing. So I took some of those Yukon Golds and I moved them into some wood chips in the back of my garden here. These potatoes were highly neglected. I could have added a lot more wood chips. I'm already seeing here a green potato sticking up. That's not great, but I think we got some more potatoes underneath there. This guy, we're not going to eat that one. We're going to replant it. Definitely not great. This is mostly my fault here. I should have added a lot more wood chips. Even this guy here looks like a great potato, but it's got some green on it, so we're not going to risk eating that. She's going back in the ground there, as is this other green one that is sprouting. There's probably some more mixed in here, but I'm tearing up the fungal network. I don't want to do that. I got a lot of new strawberries that are starting to spread through here. I don't want to disturb too many of those. So I'm going to say this plot was a failure, but I am to blame for it. I had one more plot of potatoes to show you guys in my compost, but unfortunately my plants have died back and I don't know where the potatoes are at. So I got like 18 inches of compost here I've been digging through and I cannot find potatoes. I'm sure they're in there. They probably did pretty good, but I guess I'm going to find them when I dig this out. So, potatoes in wood chips. Is it a good idea? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. If you were to actually use legitimate seed potatoes and just grow them in wood chips, I think you'd do pretty good. It seems like where we didn't get high yield, it was mostly my fault for not covering the potatoes with more wood chips. But seeing as these were just moldy store-bought potatoes rotting in a bag in the basement with some sprouts coming off that looked like they were also dead, and I just tossed them in some wood chips and grew them, and we actually got potatoes. That's pretty good. I'm kind of upset that I didn't grow potatoes the way I usually grow them because we had a huge Yukon Gold harvest last year. We grew them in the ground. We actually planted them at a time of year you're not supposed to plant potatoes. Sometimes growing things the way you're not supposed to works out better. So we took some potatoes that were probably going to go in the garbage and got some free potatoes out of them, so they didn't go to waste. So that's a good thing. If you are a wood chip potato grower and you do pretty good, let me know in the comments. Make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. We do a lot of different gardening experiments here, and thanks for watching.